Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Morning. How are we feeling?
So, 15 years. Throughout the past 15 years, the world has witnessed seismic shifts, economic crises, technological breakthroughs, a global pandemic, evolving social dynamics. From the rise of AI and digitalization to changing consumer expectations and sustainability becoming a core business priority, the hospitality industry has continuously adapted to the ever-changing landscape. We have seen resilience in the face of uncertainty, the reinvention of travel and dining experiences, and we have seen a renewed focus on human connection.
In the past 15 years, all of this has changed and evolved, but one thing has stayed consistent: YHS.
From Young Hotelier Summit to Young Hospitality Summit, through the name changes and the crises, one thing has stayed the same all these years for YHS: wanting to connect with people. And with that, I would like to formally welcome you to YHS 2025.
How inspiring, Molly, to think it's been 15 years of this amazing event. Now that we've recognized the past, time to move on to what we have in store for you for over the next 3 days.
We'll have dynamic discussions about the hospitality industry today in relation to this year's theme, innovation across dimensions. Just like the dimensions of a cube, hospitality innovation happens on 3 main frameworks: height, focusing on quality; width, focusing on quantity; and depth, focusing on efficiency. We will immerse ourselves in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with speakers and delegates from around the world who will each provide us a unique perspective on the hospitality industry.
Over the course of the summit, you'll hear discussions about topics such as over-tourism, hospitality and education, food and beverage innovation, and even hospitality in different realms. Without your active participation, we would not be here. So we encourage you to ask as many questions you want and talk to anyone and everyone.
Wow, looks like we're going to learn a lot over the next few days. But before we get any further, let's introduce ourselves. This is Annie, our head of marketing and communications. She's Macanese and in her 3rd year here at EHL. She's smack dab in the middle of her 4 other sisters, whose names also all start with an A. My guess is she had to share a lot of clothes growing up, so if you need to borrow anything, ask Annie.
Thank you, Molly. Well, everyone, this is Molly, our head of experience. Just like our home of California, Molly is a burst of sunshine and is about to graduate EHL in July of this year. She's a YHS veteran, being a part of the summit for the 3rd year now. She used to own a cheese and charcuterie board business. She's really good at that, just trust me, okay? If you would like to talk about cheese, she's the best person to do on campus.
Thanks, Annie. Now we're going to start with a quick Q&A. So we have 3 questions and 1 warm-up question. We'll start with a warm-up question today. So as it's St. Patrick's Day, we have a special holiday question. Once I read it, I'll ask you just to shout out the answer, and when you know it, you can just shout it out, and I'll give you some answer options. So, in what decade did St. Patrick's Day stop being a dry holiday? Meaning, what decade did it become legal to start drinking alcohol on St. Patrick's Day? In the 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, or the 1990s? Any guesses? Come on, shout it out. I think I heard the right answer. It's the 1970s. That was when it became legal to drink alcohol on St. Patrick's Day. Now, we'll move on to some questions that are a little bit more YHS focused. So for these questions, when you have an answer, I'll ask you to raise your hand, and then you can move the table mic I'll call on you, and you'll move the table mic closer to you, press the bar, and speak into it. So, first off, if you could describe the hospitality industry in 1 word, what would it be? Yes, right here.
Diverse.
Good one. Yes.
Limitless.
Ooh, I like that one. Anybody over here? Yes.
People.
Ooh, people. Love it. Great answers.
Next, in 1 short phrase or word, what do you expect from YHS this year? Please.
A lot of new connections.
Exactly. I saw a hand somewhere over here. Anybody want to answer this question? Yes, please.
New perspectives?
Great, new perspective from our speakers and from you as well, delegates. Is that a hand if I see? Yeah.
Creativity?
Exactly, creativity.
And we have one final question. What is your dream job? Anybody want to answer? Well, my dream job is to own a restaurant. So it's a good thing I go to hospitality school. Anybody else? Anybody want to be an astronaut? Astronauts have to be hospitable too. Yes?
I would like to work in HR in the future.
Everybody needs an HR manager. All right. Yes?
I'd like to own a bed and breakfast.
Oh, I love that. Super cute. Any other dream jobs? Anybody want to not work in hospitality? Okay, great. You're all in the right place then.
Thank you all for participating. We hope to exceed your expectations for over the next 3 days, and we ask these questions once again at the end of the summit to see if anything changed.
Now, we would like to welcome Letitia Chung and Ronnie Martin, our YHS President and Vice President, for this year's edition to the stage.
But for some members here, like for myself, it's nearly been 48 months. 48 months of learning, being empowered, and growing with YHS has brought me to where I am today. 48 months ago, or 4 years ago, I never thought I would be standing in front of all of you and presiding over the Young Hospitality Summit, a committee I knew I wanted to join even before being accepted to EHL. This edition is particularly special as we celebrate the 15th edition, as well as my last one. None of this would be possible without my amazing team. 8 departments that make this summit happen, some completely behind the scenes who I encourage you to mingle with over the next few days to understand how a summit like this comes together. Just like a full-time job that is done on a voluntary basis. It's truly something remarkable to witness. At YHS, we make the extraordinary happen, and these 3 days are a living proof of that. Thank you so much to EHL, our audiovisual partner Illumination, financial partners SCR Co-Share Center, SMAC Hospitality, product sponsors AMAG, Coca-Cola HBC, Cruz Lorenzetti, Lauren Perrier, as well as EHL Alliance.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, Letitia, for organizing all of this and leading the team to where we are today. I think this deserves a huge applause. Also from my side, once again, a wonderful good morning and welcome. I am Ronnie Martin, and I'm also a last year student here at EHL. For those of you who saw the pre-arrival video, they would know that I'm this Swiss-German guy who loves all the stereotypes about this country, like cheese, especially watches, wine, and even cows. But I'm gonna keep it short. There are 3 main things I want you to focus on during the next 3 days, which is be curious, connect with each other, and last but not least, ask a lot of questions, especially the guest speakers, because there's a reason why we brought them here all the way to Lausanne, right? Also, I want to thank Paulina and the community team, and in the end, I want to thank all of you, because with you, we gather more than 70 delegates, so students from all around the world, and 30 different schools in this room today and for the next 3 days. Use this chance, what Letitia already said as well, to gather, to meet each other, to talk to each other, talk about things you like, talk about things you don't like, because who knows, some of you might be colleagues sooner or later. In German, there's also this saying which goes like, you'll always meet twice in life. Well, there's probably this professional translation in English, a better one, but I think you get what I mean, right? Yeah, there's just one last thing, and this probably roots back to my very Swiss-German upbringing. As you know, maybe, here in Switzerland, if you're on time, you're actually already late, okay? So please make sure to always be a few minutes early so we can start the program on time. With this, thank you very much and have a lovely summit.
Thank you, Letitia and Ronnie. All the hard work from the team and our partners has not gone unseen. We would also like to thank you again for your mentorship and amazing organizational skills. Without you, this would not have been possible.
Before welcoming our first speakers of the summit to the stage, we would like to remind you to please prepare for takeoff of the summit by stowing any electronic devices for the duration of any discussion. We may not be in an airplane, but we are in airplane mode.
With that in mind, we're pleased to welcome our first speakers of the summit, Vanessa Belusat, Chief Growth Officer here at EHL, and Andrea Monti, the CEO of YHS Next. Please give a big round of applause to welcome them on stage.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming us and for having this kickoff session. And thank you a lot for the organization. Very proud and very humbled to be in the room in front of you and to look at people who love hospitality, want to work in hospitality, and believe into changing also and having an impact on the world. This is an amazing theme, innovation in hospitality, because it's the way we see things change. Couple of words about myself. I'm part of the leadership team here in YHL. I'm looking at human resources, innovation, strategic project, or campuses around the world, and marketing. In my previous life, I spent a decade working in innovation and business development in different industries, and I got very few learnings about what makes innovation successful, but a lot of insight on how to fail in innovation. So we will have a couple of words around those beliefs or examples that are people who are changing the world and are making a difference in hospitality. And with these few words, I would like to be humbled to share this presentation in this couple of minutes with my dear colleague, Andrea Monti. And I propose, Andrea, you say a couple of words about yourself.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you to the organizer for inviting me, and welcome to all of you. I am the CEO of YHL Next, which is basically the innovation arm of YHL. So we refer to it also like the innovation hub. I've been here since actually 1 year tomorrow. So I'm closing my first year in YHL tomorrow. And before that, I've been a founder myself. I've been setting up a travel startup. I dealt with innovation in a few other companies and organizations in Switzerland and abroad. So looking forward to give you some insights on my experience as well.
Very good. So a couple of thoughts to start. We wanted to start with a couple of reflections on risk aversion in general in innovation and hospitality. But I would say one sentence before starting with the focus on hospitality. In general, professors have shown that the established player, or the one who are leading, have a difficult time to innovate harder than newcomers. And the reason why it's called an innovation dilemma, it's well explained and well shown. You have more to lose when you lead. So disrupting yourself becomes a lot harder. Also, structures are more rigid, because when you have your brand, you have your assets, you are a hotel, how do you change quickly? Versus someone who is coming on the market who is basically nothing to lose and can change the way of working. That's the first consideration. Now, the second consideration we had with my colleague as we built the presentation, as people have said around hospitality, it's built around human connection, people at the center of it. And maybe slightly less obvious that this technology can disrupt this human relationship. So, of course, there's innovation, and we're going to show it, but we are super interested in innovation that put humans at the center and the human experience at the center, because historically and over the years, this is where the competitive advantage of hospitality has always been. So with this consideration, we have done an extensive mapping of all types of disruptions, startups, new companies that have a different part of the value chain when we look at operation, when we look at revenue management. And you see here all the different fields and example of startups who has proposed something new, delivered a new service or a new way to disrupt the way we used to interact with hospitality. This is done by a startup radar called 𝘏𝘦𝘪𝘨𝘵, and they can actually update regularly this map with new concept or new startup and see them on the radar to see if they're going to grow, if we can support them, if we can invest in them, and see them disrupt our industry. The next slide is even more impressive when we look at marketing and guest experience. And that's maybe the first consideration that I wanted to bring along on this stage, which is, as you can tell, a lot of innovation or new ways is happening in marketing and guest experience, as it is the really heart of our hospitality industry. Now, if we look a bit in detail, and we're not going to go through all the logo on the slide, if we would need just 2 days to go through it, but we picked up some example, and just for inspiration, for reflection, so you feel also during these 2 days some inspiration. So, Andrea, tell us more about robots.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, given the risk aversion that Vanessa was mentioning, we see that operational efficiencies and revenue optimization are the fields where more easier all the big chains innovate. So, for example, Marriott, in one of its brands, has introduced the Butler. Butler is a robot, so based on robotics and automation, Butler delivers amenities into the floors, different floors of the building, so delivering amenities to the guests. So, of course, streamlining tasks and operational efficiencies. Now, more on the use of artificial intelligence. As you could imagine, we have a lot of inbound requests for new startups on AI, trying to, again, optimize streams, optimize the operations of the big hotel chains. And one of these, which is actually part of the Innovation Hub, is Renova AI. They're focusing on the reviews, so reviews management and how to use the insights from the reviews to deliver a better marketing promotion. So this is mostly on the, again, revenue optimization side, so how to be able to access new segments of customers as well. I like a lot Blend, I have to say, because I am a data-driven professional, and Blend is another company here in Switzerland. They are part of the Innovation Hub. They gather data from different softwares and tools into an hotel or in hotel chains, from the PMS, from the booking system, from the HR system, so that they can collect all of them together and give a holistic view to the hotel itself, but not only to the hotels, also to the destinations. So they might be good partner of cantons, of states, to improve really the tourism at a systemic level. This is on the, those 3 examples are, as we said, on the operational efficiencies and revenue optimization, but then we will see, you know, that what is driving a lot the experience in hospitality and tourism is really the connection with humans. So travelers are not seeking for just a place to sleep, they're looking for more. And this is where then innovation can enter the field of personalization. Again, we have a few examples here in the Innovation Hub, but not only, which are, for example, the personalization of the communication between the guests and the hotel. So Circular is providing a platform, a software platform for luxury hotels, enhancing guest experience and delivering services and messages that resonates to a personal level. So it is more on creating a more direct connection between the specific guest and the hotel. Then we are talking about the environment with Sensosan. Sensosan is a platform that enhances the air environment in hotels and lobbies and in the rooms. So using a mix of nebulizers, pods, and the personal preferences of the guest, they can really feel you even more at home or even more at ease with the specific room or experience you are living. And this happens through the day, so it can change during the day, and it can also have impacts and effects on your personal health. So also there are, of course, examples of how those mechanisms can influence your stress levels, for example. And again, on the personal experience, on the personal connection. Behavioral Smart is a company that starts from their studies in behavioral sciences, so they take insights from this science to suggest and advise hotel chains and destinations on how to make the journey for the customer more easy for the customer to adopt, to be part of. So they are delivering specific insights on which could be the choices that the customer can do more easily, so without putting him again in a situation of stress, but on the other side, putting the customer in a situation of real experience delivered. So I believe at the end it is the supremacy of human connection. So I imagine that Vanessa, you'll be telling a bit more about this now.
Exactly. You've seen a couple of examples around technology, how robots, AI, artificial intelligence, everything linked to data management can improve the guest experience in some of this technology. But we were really interested in looking at other models that actually are playing around the full experience. We call it business model innovation. Some of them mentioned, I want to open an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast. Of course, you all know this example. But how can we redefine completely the value in hospitality and find other ways to bring hospitality in fields that are not the most common? I like those examples because they are simple, but really so obvious when you see them happening. One, CRMPD Life is around building communities and arranging and supporting people living together in a space. As we know, one of the pandemic today is loneliness. You feel alone, you build a startup alone, you're in your room, you don't speak and you communicate with others. How can we make it easy for you to connect with similar thought people, thinking people, so you can exchange, live and share your experience? So there you have all the services and the support around bringing the same community together in the building and allowing this to happen. The second big trend we see is around longevity. In this world, we live longer. And we are more in health longer. And we are taking care of being able to do more things longer, so the quality of life longer. So this startup, 𝘏𝘠𝘪𝘥𝘵 in Switzerland, it's close to home, has defined another way to diagnostic with your DNA, the type of disease or genes that could cause certain disease, and help in the prevention of it with a lot of hospitality approach in the way you are welcome, cared for, and where you live with others. So interesting that hospitality is going beyond the traditional sector, touching other sectors like healthcare or a lot deeper, and bringing those practices to a lot more area. So when in this room you're saying you want to work in hospitality, I have a question for you. Which type of hospitality do you want to work in? And this is a lot more open than it used to be in our traditional sense or definition of hospitality. A third example, of course, well known, is the glamping trend. We see a lot of new concepts around this getaway. Get away from your cell phone. I left my cell phone on the table. I'm pretty stressed out at the moment to be off and to be on airplane mode for so long. So how much does it take you to not look at your phone? So of course we see now a lot of this concept around detox, getting away, having immersion in nature, rediscovering what it is to be in nature, which is not the usual concept of hospitality, or a new way to disconnect and appreciate other things than a beautiful marble desktop. So with those examples, we wanted to share with you a couple of thoughts, and certainly not lessons. We are in no way in no position to tell others what to do, but share perspective on what maybe in our experience we've seen work and not so much worked. We call them beliefs because they're not really rational proof of what we're saying, but there's enough evidence that we want to bring it along. The first one, in my eyes, to really succeed in innovation is go beyond an idea. I've seen in my decades of working on innovation a lot of ideas on Post-its, a lot of brainstormings, and a couple of really nice workshop where people were bringing, and I have an idea. And I said, well, an idea is pretty cheap, pretty easy to produce, but coming from the idea to actually a successful innovation is really where it becomes difficult. And I started to notice what makes a good idea initially. And it's around this clearly definition of what is the issue you're trying to solve. What is the problem that your innovation will solve? And if you think back around the example we just shared, every one of them is trying to solve clearly a defined problem. Often innovators are people who are solving a problem for themselves. They're quite passionate because there's something that bothers them and they want the solution. Very selfish for this problem they want to solve for themselves. That gives them the energy to go after this innovation. The why is also very important in the way that you're going to explain the value proposition to the consumer. What is good about my innovation and why you would need to buy it or adopt it. If it's not super clear, if the reason to believe or the reason to follow is not super clear, already you can be sure that this will need to be reworked. And how you're going to make it happen, this is also an important part because often we tend to focus on our idea or first or on innovation, and we forget about competitors, other people that are going maybe faster, someone that could adopt your idea in a better way, and that's something it's just sometimes not feasible. So having up front this filter that all along within your innovation journey will help you refine your ideas, in my eyes, it's critical. The second pillar of our beliefs, it's about killing ideas. So I would say on the contrary of what most people will think, my perception around innovation is you need to be really good at killing ideas. If you don't kill enough and fast your ideas, you will be overwhelmed and you will not go anywhere. So in the end, I used to work in Nestlé, and we were doing this big gate process, and people would think the gate process was about passing your idea through. No, the gate process was about killing all the ideas that shouldn't go through and selecting the one that you really think is worth the investment in terms of time, in terms of resources. How do we do this? So we had very clear guidelines, but one of the important part was killing ideas early. Because the other big failure of most companies when we think about innovation is they tend to stick with the idea, getting through, and then at the end, the last minute, when it's about to go in the factory to be produced or it's about to be launched, and then they realize, no, the business case doesn't work. But by that time, you've invested quite a lot of time on working on your idea, building some prototype, investing quite a lot of research. So even if it's super painful, it's easy at the start to challenge and refine your idea. So we started to say we need to invest much more time upfront. Upfront meaning when it's still vague, to really capture why you are innovating, the problems you are trying to solve, what it will take to make a successful innovation. It is where it's really also important to look at not only trends, but this competitive landscape. So the couple of slides I've shown you up front, they seem overwhelming. There seems to be a lot of players. They're really important. Very important to immerse and be curious. I like what you said up front in the opening speech, the curiosity of looking at what people do to go around something that doesn't work for them. It's often where you find a good idea, the turnaround, I couldn't get this service, so I'm doing something else on the side. And it's quite painful. This gives you a good indication of a place to innovate. If people have to find work around your process, that's not working. But it's also good to look at what type of a solution are others proposing. And I like the fact that often innovation can come from a completely different field. So we talked about, for example, healthcare or technology. So sometimes innovation is just to bring a good idea from a different sector to your sector. So adopting something that have worked in a different country, in a different market, in a different sector, and making it your own in hospitality, in your context. So you don't fully reinvent greenfield any idea every day, but you are making a smart adjustment to your context. And the last learning from my side, it's a big word, but really you can do it all the time. It's the prototyping. This also allows to fail fast. So to realize fast what's not working about the idea. And you have different level of prototyping. It could be just a question asked to a consumer or client around how do you like this and would you like this? It could be a drawing, a really poor drawing of your idea. It could be a web app, 2 seconds, in 5 hours. You can build a website and propose your offer and see if customers are going to sign up for it. So all level of prototyping, from the rougher one to the more sophisticated one, will help you really test your assumption. Behind each prototype, you should have a question that you want to solve. I am testing what? I am testing my value proposition. I'm testing my feasibility of my concept. I'm testing the financial viability. I'm testing the willingness to pay. I'm testing, I don't know, but it's clear the assumption you're testing, then the data you gather from this test is also very clear. The third learning, of course, is about challenging yourself and about the team. I think a good saying from the audience was about connection and being a team. I'm convinced that innovation is teamwork because we are smarter together, more brains, look at the problem differently and bring to the table a new way to see the problem. I'm convinced, especially today, when we hear about geopolitical motions in the world, that diversity is key and the best diverse team are smarter. I'm absolutely convinced, and especially as regards to innovation. You succeed because you have a black hat in the room that challenges you, that tells you all the reason why it's not going to work. But you also succeed because you have an optimist in the room who believes in the idea and say, despite all these challenges, I will address them and we will succeed together. Those two people, they think differently and they are critical. They make, at the end of the day, the idea better. So this is why this self-challenge yourself at every step of the process, be open to new idea, new perspective, and build the team on your weaknesses. Everything that you feel you're not so strong on, bring someone along that can compensate for your weakness. So it's a game of perseverance and patience and resilience. I've seen a lot of teams come again and again and again. Some teams, it took 10 years to make it work with a lot of redefining the idea. So in the end, you know what? I believed more in the team than in the ideas. I thought the team, the idea, it's a cool one, but if the team is great, this will happen. If the team is solid, if the team has the attitude of resilience, if the team believe in themselves, they will make it happen. They will twist the bad idea into a good one. They will listen to the consumer and make it work in their context. It's about the team and the attitude that you have when you start your journey. So this is teamwork at the essence of it, and I'm really particularly proud to be sitting here around this room because I see tables, I see connections, I see people who are going to get to know each other and therefore build future team. I like the Swiss German saying that we meet people twice, and innovation is the same. We meet people several times, and teams will cross paths again and again. I was a bit long, so I'm sorry. I'm giving you a shorter time than planned, Andrea, but I know you can improvise. So
I can, and thank you, Vanessa, actually, for the great insights. And I believe one of the things that I heard is that innovation is not about the ideas, but it's about implementation. So what do we do in EHL to support the students and also external founders to implement their ideas? Now, for the students, we do have a journey. It starts from the courses they have during the bachelor on innovation, sustainability, entrepreneurship. They can make internships on their own project. So on top of internship with corporates, they can have transform or use the 6 months internships in working on their own project, which is the My Own Startup program. Then we do have a pre-acceleration program that brings founders from ideas to MVP. So we provide them actionable insights, tools, advice that can be used immediately, working again on their startup. And then we have membership services for startups willing to be followed monthly or weekly. Services go from traditional coaching to the space, support for grants, fundraising, up to scale-up services. So we are also servicing companies from other continents, countries, to enter the hospitality market, to enter Switzerland or Europe, and we provide them with support on hiring, team management, business development, forming an advisory board, which is something that you need when you're a founder. So we share all the experience of the wider EHL community with them. And then we also have events. You were mentioning, Vanessa, open innovation. So we really, being in an industry of what we mean, where empathy, collaboration are key, we believe that open innovation is the key for us to help ourselves grow and to support also students and founders to grow. So I would invite you to our first ever Open Innovation Summit in May, the 20th and 21st. It will be focused around 3 themes that all of them are super relevant for the hospitality industry. So luxury with impact, regenerative economies, and future of food. Feel free, if you have ideas, if you want to participate, if you want to attend, drop an email to innovation@ehl.ch or reach out to us in any form, LinkedIn, messaging, wherever. And you will see that the majority of the time there, the core of the event is really creating collaboration and matchmaking between corporate, mid-sized companies and scale-ups. So again, it will be about sharing knowledge, exchanging information, and creating opportunities. Now, just a final word, because we do this because we see the opportunity, the natural opportunity for us to foster innovation and entrepreneurship in the sector. But more than that, we feel this also like a strong responsibility. So the responsibility of helping new leaders to build and create a different and more human-centric and sustainable industry. So this is where all our efforts are going to. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What a great start to the summit. If this is our first speakers, you can already imagine how intriguing, memorable, and passionate all of the next speakers will be. Once again, thank you, Vanessa Bellozé and Andrea Monti.
Let's keep this applause going and taking the time to thank our sponsors for this event. Without the amazing support from SDR, AMAG, Coca-Cola, 𝘞𝘪𝘥𝘵, 𝘏𝘦𝘪𝘥𝘍𝑒, SMAC Hospitality, this event would not have been possible. Please give it up for our amazing sponsors.
We are truly grateful to have you all a part of our event and are honored that you believe in us and our mission. Thank you again.
Now, delegates, do you remember Paulina, Mara, Nyasa, and Joshua from yesterday? Right?
Great.
So upon checking, you've met them, our beautiful community team, and you also received your room key card, lunch vouchers, and a bingo card. The purpose of this bingo card is for you to get to know each other better. Who has it with them now? Show it. So, before the summit, we asked you all for a fun fact about yourself. Remember? And the fun facts on your bingo card corresponds to fun fact for other delegates. Once you have found a person and that the fun fact corresponds to, you must ask them to sign the box on your bingo card. You will have to find out all the boxes to be eligible for the YHS Spirit Award that will be presented at the gala on Wednesday. We'll collect your bingo cards on Wednesday at the start of the day, so be quick and get to know each other.
We would also like to take this time to remind you that for anybody participating in Ramadan, we have a prayer room past our vegan restaurant, and we also have a grab-and-go food spot in the residence, our corner, available late at night and early in the morning. If you have any more questions about this, don't hesitate to ask any YHS team member. Before our next activity, we would like to give you a little bit of an overview of what's in store for the next 3 days. Today, we'll hear from speakers on the topics of taking control of your professional and personal life, over-tourism, a CEO's journey in hospitality, and the STR introduction. Finally, we'll end the day with a wine tasting from one of our partners, 𝘞𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘨𝑒𝘵.
Tomorrow, you will start the day with CHIA exam, and we'll continue discussion on talent hospitality, F&B innovation, hospitality in education, hospitality in luxury, hospitable healthcare, and finally, dynamic pricing.
Sounds like you really like hospitality.
Exactly. We'll also end the day with a fun game of Family Feud with a YHS and hospitality twist.
Then that takes us to our final day together, day 3. First things first, the STR challenge is due at 9 a.m. before our day begins together. Then we'll hit the ground running with our last topics of the summit, hospitality and innovation, and asset management. After that, it will be the delegates' time to shine, as you will present the STR challenge. Finally, we'll have a little break while the winner is decided, and that leads us to our closing ceremony.
But Molly, I think you're forgetting something.
Am I?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, right, we have the gala.
For the gala, we'll all head down to Lausanne Palace for a night of good food, drinks, and dancing. Also, the winner of the Spirit Award and bingo card will be announced. It's going to be a blast and a great way to celebrate the amazing 3 days that we all spent together. I know we spoke pretty fast here about what's going to happen over the next 3 days, so make sure you scan the QR code on your table for more detailed information.
Thanks, Annie. Now, you will all go on a campus tour to get to know the place that you'll call home for the next 3 days. If you have any questions about absolutely anything, do not hesitate to ask anybody from the YHS teams. On our lanyard, we have a dark blue bar that says YHS team. When you exit the aula, you'll see YHS team members with these lanyards on, and they will be there to guide you on the campus tour. Just join a group, and then you're off. After the campus tour, we'll come back here to the aula for a keynote by the president of the Board of Trustees of EHL, Dr. Carol Ackerman. With that being said, once again, welcome to EHL and to YHS 2025. Enjoy the summit.